County Championship starts tomorrow. Got a question, actually. The question of the week from the Patreon is from Josh. Really simple question. And it just says, predictions for Div 1 champion and relegation and Div 2 promotion teams. So we will talk about that because we will go through our little County Championship preview, thoughts, prayers, stuff like that. So you're obviously a Northants ultra, aren't you, Joe? You're
An
there.
Ultra. I'm not quite Wendell.
The man with the world's biggest hands.
Yeah, and the world's biggest flag that he waves. Like, any sporting event, right? You go to the stadium, flags are like hanging off of the rafters, aren't they? No. Not Wendell. He's got the flag pole. He flies the flag himself. Now that stands him apart from the crowd. If you needed a reason to get down to Wantage Road at any point this summer, Wendell's your man. It's the only reason why I need to get in the gate.
Do you know he has it stored in the kind of marketing team's office at Wantage Road as well? Doesn't even take it home with him. He just has it stored there for him. Yeah, exactly. What a guy. But yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts for Northants? Obviously your team, I guess my kind of adopted county, but as a local, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Obviously they got relegated last year, didn't particularly have a great time of it, but at the back end they did show a bit of grit, a bit of fight. Obviously the signing of Karun Nair would have excited the fans a lot based on what we saw from him at the back end. Obviously nearly winning that game against Surrey at the Oval if it wasn't for the rain, and he obviously contributed pretty well in that game, in particular against their attack. So knowing that we've got him around for the first block of games is something that's super exciting, I think, as a fan, knowing that you're pretty much guaranteed some runs from him at the top of the order. And also Chris Tremaine was fantastic I think he only played 3 games at the start of the year, and took like 13 wickets or something. So to have those two back, probably 2 of the better overseas contributors that we've had in the county championship side at Northants for a decent amount of time, is a good place to start. I think if they can get a couple of early wins, it seems like you're always talking about momentum, aren't you? If they can get a couple of wins under their belt early on, that'll obviously build confidence within the squad. And then they can kind of go from there. Obviously, I think I've seen Luke Proctor bowling in pre-season as well. He didn't bowl that much last year, so him being able to contribute in, well, all three facets for him being captain is important. And yeah, I guess you're looking at the likes of Emilio Gay to convert some of the starts he had. He had a little bit of a disjointed season. He was injured, wasn't he? But batting at the top of the order around the likes of Karun Nair and potentially Ricardo Vasconcelos, you'd hope that he'll have a big year in Div 2. You would think he's matured quite a lot as a player since he made his debut quite a few years ago now, actually. So yeah. And obviously you've got Ben Sanderson, and Ben Sanderson's just does Ben Sanderson things, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a quality operator. I think the drop down will undoubtedly make life a lot easier for a lot of them. I can't see many people being that keen to own a cricket bat at the moment. We've spoken about the weather. I would imagine anybody that bowls kind of seam up stuff around 70, 75 mile an hour is going to be pretty excited about the start of the county championship. So yeah, but as you say, Karun Nair, fantastic cricketer and will undoubtedly score some runs. I do feel like Sussex are kind of set up fairly well now in Div 2, and those two play each other in the first round, which I think is exciting. I don't know. I am excited. I'm back at Northants all summer, and I am very, very excited / hopeful the fact that there is a lot better cricket to watch at Wantage Road this year than what there was last year, because I don't think I was particularly treated to the best version of Northamptonshire. what there possibly was. I think I saw them win. I saw them win twice in the championship. Once against Middlesex quite early on, who they'll play first at home in the second round, and then obviously the last game of the season against Essex, which fantastic result as it was. I don't think Essex were that or that kind of keen on it. Or was it Alistair Cook's last day at school as well? Maybe had their kind of minds elsewhere. But yeah, drop down. George Bartlett's a good signing. George Grimshaw's a good signing. So I think it's going to be good. I think they'll be okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the two teams that are looking to go back up again at the end of this season. I think there are a lot of good teams in that Div 2, and I think they're all very competitive. Like I think Glamorgan have got a pretty good squad. They've just signed Mer Hamza as their overseas seamer, and I think he's terrific. Marnus is obviously going to be there again. Yorkshire, Harry Brook and Joe Root are going to be available for the start of the season. So they look like they probably should score a few runs. Leicester, I think, are a little bit of a team that are going to be on their way up with some of the players that they've got. Rayan's going to be one that's going to be exciting to have a look at. Chris Wright, the left Leicester, went somewhere else and went back to Leicester. He took, I think, 48 poles last year in the championship. So they look pretty decent. Rishi Patel scored a load of runs. I think it's going to be tough. Who do you reckon's going to go up from Div 2?
Yeah, I think you've alluded to it there. Like the quality in Division 2 seems, certainly now from my perspective, like a lot more balanced and competitive than maybe it had been in the past. Like the calibre of overseas, like obviously Sussex have got Pajara again, and he's just an absolute run machine, isn't he? Marnus, like you almost have to take the Division 2 tagline out of it and just admire the competitiveness of it, I guess. But yeah, I honestly, Yorkshire, knowing that okay, Joe Root isn't going to be playing the first round, we've seen their squad come out a little bit earlier today, but Harry Brook, Matt Fisher's back for them, Ben Code's impressive, they've got a few youngsters as well. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts, and I also think Sussex are they're my two promotion candidates, I would say. But I have put Northampton there as a team to watch. If they can get themselves on a bit of a run, I think it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge their loyalty in my heart. How about you?
As I say, I think it's between those three. I think Yorkshire, Northampton, Sussex. But as I said, I do think there's some. I just don't think there's going to be many easy games in there. Middlesex obviously got relegated as well, didn't they? They've signed some pretty decent players. Luce Deploy from Derbyshire, and I think Henry Brooks from Warwickshire, who bowls rockets. So it's going to be tough. Give me your player. Give me your one to watch from Div 2. I only want one player. I don't want. Wait, it could be this guy. Might be that one. Give me one player.
Oh, that's so tough. I'm gonna say. So, am I saying that this has to be like a youngster?
No, anyone.
Okay, I'm backing Matt Fisher to be like leading wicket taker in the division.
Great shout. I love it. That's a strong shout. I can't be. It might be partly because he's kind of sorted me out with a game at Wantage Road on the 21st of July as well. But I'm gonna say Rob Keogh. I think he will be Northampton's spinner. So there's definitely going to be some big long overs from him, and he's going to take wickets as well, assuming it ever stops raining. Only guy for a long time for Northampton last year to score 100 in the championship, and that little step down I think is going to make his life just that little bit easier. So I think he's going to have a bucket load of runs and a hatful of wickets as well at the end of the year. So he's my Div 2 player. Div 1. Nice. Should we just say that Surrey are going to win Div 1 and then we talk about the rest of it from there? Is there much point? Do you see anybody else giving them a little go? I mean, they've just added Dan Lawrence to the team as well, as if they needed any extra players. Anybody?
Their depth is sickening, isn't it?
Yeah.
To any other supporter of any other county, the squad depth at Surrey is genuinely sickening. Do you know what? I really like the look of Durham. I know they only just got promoted, but I really do fancy them to challenge, not just like win a few games. I think they've got some like a quite a nice start to the season. I think they've got Hampshire, haven't they, at home? I think, yeah, obviously playing at Chestnut Street, I feel like that's a big advantage. They've got, they've got their bowling attack is just pure rockets.
I was just
They've
about to say, how good does their seam bowling attack look?
It's a joke. They've reinforced the batting lineup even more so. That like they scored so many runs and scored so many batting points in Div 2 last year, and then they've just signed like Colin Ackerman for the Bants from Leicester. Like brilliant signing. Yeah, I do like the look of Durham.
Yeah,
If I'm not choosing Surrey, I'm choosing Durham.
yeah. It's hard to not look there, if that makes sense. I think Essex are going to be there or thereabouts again. They'll be competing, but I think Durham feel like they could give Surrey a real good run for their money. Like Ben Rain took 60 poles last year in Div 2. If there was an England second Test team, second 11, Bryden Cass and Matt Potts would be in that team. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them wasn't playing Test cricket for England this summer anyway. But if there was a second team, they would be like banked in there straight away. We haven't seen Scott Boland that much, other than the kind of the build the man a statue type thing. But you feel the way that he goes about his business, the pace that he bowls at, the type of bowler that he is. He should do bits in the county championship as well. And then, as you say, they've strengthened that batting lineup, who kind of played that kind of fearless brand of cricket that we saw from the international team, but haven't really seen it adopted by as many counties yet. But Durham certainly did that, and rightfully ended up winning Div 2. Relegations, Worcestershire, I think would be one. I know they've just signed Jason Holder. I assume they found somewhere to play, and they're not going to be just rained off each week as the boating lake at New Road just drains itself. I mean, what a bad bit of luck that is. I mean, they could not have positioned that cricket ground in a worse place with the foresight of any kind of global warming. But they, for me, would be one that I think, unfortunately for Worcestershire fans, might be expecting a bit of a tough year.
Yeah, likewise. I think they're playing at Kidderminster by all accounts, because I think one of our games against Central Sparks was due to be at New Road, and it's been rearranged for Kidderminster at the beginning of May. So yeah, I feel like it happens every year. Like New Road just gets flooded. Obviously, it's so close to that river, which is a real shame. You would have thought that planning around potential relocation would have happened a bit earlier than it has done. Obviously, I don't even know if they've got plans to relocate
Move
and
the
move
river
grounds or whatever. But yeah, I think they could be in for a tricky year, just based on the strength of the other squads around the circuit. To be honest, and Kent, I think they struggled a bit last year as well and missed getting relegated last year. As a result of a couple, like I think if Middlesex had have beaten Notts on the last day, then Kent would have gone down. And yeah, they weren't particularly impressive last year. Obviously, they've got Crawley and Daniel Bell Drummond and Ben Compton, who will just bat forever, won't he? He doesn't care about his strike rate.
No.
But yeah, their bowling obviously struggled a lot last year, and I don't particularly think they've reinforced it that strongly when I look at some of the other bowling attacks around the country. So yeah, if I had to choose two, it'd be Worcester and Kent. Who's your one to watch?
That's a horrible question. That really is a horrible question, isn't it? Who's my one to watch? I like the idea of Tom Abel having a big year. I think obviously taking the captaincy or stepping down from the captaincy, of which he's had at Somerset for ages. He's always performed anyway. He's always scored a load of runs, and he's got a fantastic record, hasn't he? He's probably one of those guys at the moment that you kind of think, oh, he must not have ever been far away from international recognition, kind of in one of the full sides. And yeah, maybe take the captaincy away, bit of pressure off, slightly less of a workload, and maybe a few more runs for Tom, who I couldn't actually fit in my fantasy team. But you never know. There might be room as the season goes on. Yourself?
Yeah, there is a lot of talent, isn't there? I think based on the Durham conversation, I'm gonna go with another quick. I'm gonna go with Matty Potts.
Great shout.
I'm sure he'll play for England at some point in their test summer, which could be a potential drawback for Durham. But as we've said, they've got a fair amount of strength in depth. But also, I think maybe one for the Hampshire fans. I think the signing of Ali Orr, obviously from your boys Sussex, if he can, score his weight of runs at the top of the order, then equally they could quite easily contend and be up there. They've been there or thereabouts the past few years, haven't they? But have potentially lacked a bit of consistency at the top of the order, and they've obviously brought him in to try and rectify that a bit. So he's definitely one to look out for, young Ali Orr. I'm looking forward to it. Can't believe it's less than 24 hours away.
No, it is mad, isn't it? I mean, we'll be tuning into the live streams, and it'll be raining, which will be great. But yeah, fantastic. There's our little very unqualified and fan based opinions and thoughts on the county championship. So you're welcome.